I'm calling this public hearing to order. It's Monday, August 28th, 2017. It is now 7 o'clock, and I'm calling to order a public hearing. We're to invite and to hear public comments, at which time interested parties are invited to express public comments on the designation of a special assessment district. Special Assessment District for Emergency Medical Services through Southwestern Michigan Community Ambulance Service District Number 1. So if you're here to comment about the Special Assessment District, you can go up to the microphone. You have 3 minutes. Good evening, sir. Please state your name and your address. Thank you.
Brett Hendry, 325 North Detroit Street.
Hi.
I guess I was hoping to hear a little bit more about in regards to the funding for this. How's it going to have an impact on my property taxes? I have a lot of concern regarding our property taxes. I've got wonderful neighbors who have lived there. We've lived there 20 years now, 21 years. And we're paying about double of what our neighbors pay. And I understand, obviously, when we bought our home, our neighbors were already there, and there's been some rule changes or some tax law changes.
Okay.
However, I've recently retired. My wife's not far off from retiring. We're thinking about the asset we have in our home. And how in the world are we going to attract new people to come into the city of Buchanan and pay over $3,000 that we pay right now? It'll probably go up more when we sell the home. How do we attract people to do that? I'm concerned we're not going to be able to sell our home, at its value. And then if our taxes that we're currently paying, we're paying for the ambulance service. Are our property taxes going to drop? Are they going to change at all when you assess this new fee to us? I guess I just want to understand how we're going to pay for this and what's happening with our taxes at that point.
Okay. Bill, would you like to answer that, please?
Well, I'm going to take advantage of having Brian Scribner here to maybe step up to the mic and give us a rundown on, Brian's the director of SMACUS, and
thank
give
you.
us an idea.
Thank you, sir.
Of
My
the,
concern is not about SMACUS.
Right.
My concern is, why is all of a sudden the funding going to change,
Right.
yet my property taxes probably remain the same or go up, or I'm going to have an assessed fee?
Okay.
I just don't understand.
Yep. Okay. We'll have Brian explain that. Thank you.
Okay. In 2008, the owner municipalities of SMACUS established a special assessment district, and in that special assessment, they assessed $20 per parcel per year for everybody in those communities. Over the last year, the owner municipalities have come together again because that assessment expired in 2016. So that assessment won't happen again, and we needed to establish a new funding structure for SMACUS. And what the municipalities decided upon after looking at our budgets was to renew the $20 per parcel assessment again. So it's that same amount of money that was being assessed prior. It is basically a renewal, but because of the way Public Act 33 works, you have to go back through this process again. So that, hopefully that answers your question about.
So basically, it's just a renewal.
It's just a renewal of the $20.
The assessment of what we pay right now is there already.
Correct, with some slight differences, but if you're a single parcel owner, that won't affect you at all. But there are additional parcels that will be assessed that haven't been in the past, and that's because of the way Public Act 33 works.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for Brian?
and I guess to maybe further your question, if you're looking past what SMACUS assessment district is, then our assessor is here on Tuesdays. She's here all day. You can come in and have a conversation with her. She can look at your property again to see if there's, okay, all right. Well, that was my alternative to your question, so.
Okay. Commissioner Vagansky?
What is Public Act 33? What does that mean?
That's the public act it falls under. I honestly am not well-versed in municipal law, but that's the act that it falls under, and it describes how a municipality can fund specific services and the like.
So basically what we're doing, and I talked to Bill about this earlier, what we're doing is we're just expanding the region and including more people. We're not raising taxes on the people that have been paying. We're just including more people in the circle.
More parcels, yes.
Yeah, the district itself remains the same, the owner boundaries remain the same, just that certain parcels in there, we're not paying the $20 assessment fee, and now, under the reorganization or the new renewal, they are. So it makes it equal across the board for all properties now.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the special assessment? Okay, go ahead. If you can just say your name and your address from there, that's fine.
Does the service change in any way?
No. Well, hopefully we continue to improve. But no, there's no changes to the service plan.
Okay.
And excuse me, the budget that SMACUS has, these monies are primarily used for capital purchases, ambulances, equipment, and some training for the medics. Again, when you look at some of our costs, which an ambulance is $130,000 to $160,000 a piece, the cots alone that we use in the ambulances, those are Stryker cots. They're hydraulically raise and lower. Those cots alone are like $8,000 a piece. So we have a lot of capital expenditures to keep up the best equipment to help support a very good service to our communities. It's like owning a boat. Anything you buy with an emergency medical label on it has a premium because it's tested, tried, trued, and it's expensive. So our costs continue to go up. Again, but our assessment fee has not gone up. It's still $20. For the last 8 years, it was $20, and for the next 5 years, it'll be $20. So it's the other way SMACUS is funded is through calls for service and what we get through our billing of private companies as well as Medicare and Medicaid payments, which I think Dan, Commissioner Vagansky's been pursuing our legislators regarding that, is that we only get a very small fraction of what the total amount is for Medicaid, and Medicare transports. So we have to subsidize that operation with these funds.
Okay. Sir?
Yeah, I've been fortunate never to need your service, but does the rate gonna change in any way on calls that we would pay a different amount for because of this?
Every year we do a rate assessment, and we haven't increased that rate, at least in the last 3 years that I've been there. The way ambulance funding works, and Bill touched on this a little bit, is that we collect about 44% of what we bill out. And Medicare and Medicaid have set amounts that they pay us no matter how much the bill was. And so, a lot of folks will tell you it really doesn't matter what we bill, except for to a few private patients that end up paying, the full amount. The rate itself is going to be the same until our insurance companies and Medicare and Medicaid raise their reimbursement rates. So, there can always be potential of an increase. but generally there'll be small increases. And most of the time when we make an increase, it's because we've discovered that it'll increase our reimbursement with Medicare or Medicaid or the Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yes, go ahead.
Smackus first came in, I'm Cindy Benson, 212 Cecil Street.
Thank you.
When Smackus first came into existence, or when my mother first noticed it, my mother purchased some kind of a membership that she maintained throughout her life until she ended up in nursing home. Per year, it was a membership in Smackus somehow.
Yes.
Is that still in existence? It helps lower your personal costs.
What you're witnessing here is experience. I didn't bring these with me to the first three meetings, and I have,
So we can get it.
yes. These are Smackus memberships. They're $45 a year. And what they do is cover any deductibles that you would have post-insurance for ambulance transportation. They do, if somebody doesn't have any insurance, they are billed a flat $200 rate instead of the full ambulance bill. And I can promise you that's a very good deal. So this is a great system, and I encourage anybody that's interested to take a look at these memberships. If it's okay, I'll leave them on the back table here. Or, okay.
Yes, sir, go ahead. Yeah,
Ned Gardner,
thank you, Ned.
5 years.
Thank you, sir.
I'm kind of new to the area, Ned, but I was just curious, do you keep statistics on what the response times are?
Yes, we do. We report those monthly to our board of directors.
And what they do?
The standard for the county is for priority one calls. Those are the red lights and sirens responses that we do. We need to be to those calls 12 minutes or less 90% of the time.
Thank you.
Smackus, in all the time that I have been there, has always exceeded that expectation. Last month I reported 93 or 94% on-time performance, but yeah, we have good on-time performance.
And we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes.
May I
Thank you.
ask, how does that compare to other communities?
Well, I don't know because I don't get to see their response time reports, but yeah. Every community is a little different. We have a saying in our business that if you've seen one EMS system, you've seen one EMS system. But 12 minutes is an industry standard. Years ago, the standard was 8 minutes, but the medical studies that are coming out and the like say that that 8-minute number was arbitrary and didn't really have an effect on outcomes in patients' health, and so a lot of the country is moving to a 12-minute standard. So, but I can tell you that as I look at our numbers, I'm pretty pleased with our response time. So,
Okay, anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Samantha Gardner, 605 Rainiers.
Thank you.
Is there a standard home identification that you need? Like numbers of streets?
we street numbers are very, very valuable to us when we're looking for a
But there's no
home.
law.
There's, I don't believe there's,
How they should be or prominent.
no.
I can add, we do have a local ordinance that dictates that. The size of the numbers, the display of those numbers.
And
Our code in-
reflective,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say reflective is very, very nice
Yeah.
for us too, because a lot of times when we're running into our challenges, it's at night when we're trying to find that house. So.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So if you don't get the $20, how would that affect your response time and your staff?
It would have a negative effect. This $20 per parcel actually is about 17% of our funding. And that's actually a huge number. Ambulance services operate on razor-thin profit margins to stay afloat. And so that would definitely require us, if we had to do that, to cut back staffing. And it costs $500,000 a year to put one ambulance on the road 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay, yep, Cindy?
I think it would be ridiculous for us as a group of citizens not to vote that back in. An example I'm going to give is my neighbor. He landed on his head, he went down the stairs to the basement. He should have died because of a quick ambulance response and a good doctor at the hospital. That man's still riding his motorcycle. So I think we should pass this.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Oh, okay.
70%. Is that from, this fund, is that from all the municipalities?
All the municipalities, all of the funding,
So your overall budget for all municipalities?
correct.
Okay. Go ahead.
Green 215 Liberty Street. I just want to say that my mother is elderly. She's been paralyzed for years, and we've probably. What street does she live at? Ambulance. 3 or 4 times, and they were great.
Good. We're glad to hear that. Thank you. Okay. All right. With that, we're going to close and adjourn the, sorry.
Your Honor, we did receive a written comment.
Oh,
on
yes.
August 15th.
Okay.
From a Diane Mack, 309 Lake Street.
Okay.
She's totally against this. The tax rate is exceptionally high, and she says it's high enough now. However, she didn't leave a number for us to return the call to tell her that it was a to explain to her that
Right.
it was a renewal.
Right.
So, but she did want it in the record that she was totally against it.
Okay, thank you. Yes. All right. And with that, I'm going to adjourn the special public hearing. And now I'm going to call to order our regular city commission meeting. It's Monday, August 28th. I'm Mayor Brenda Hess. If everybody could please rise, and we will say the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. This evening's invocation will be given by Pastor Len Bailey of the Church of the Nazarene. Thank you, Len.
Yeah. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to be here. We thank you for the opportunity to live in a city such as Buchanan. We pray that you would be with the commissioners and our city manager as they work diligently for us. And we pray that you would give them wisdom and guidance. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to item number 3, roll call. Gladys, can you please do roll call? Thank you.
Cole? Here. Hess?
Here?
Moore? Here. Torney? Here. Bianski?
Yes.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. We are now on item number 4, public comments. Citizens are allowed up to 3 minutes to discuss any agenda item. Please approach the microphone and state your name and your address. Okay, great. Moving on to item number 5, consent calendar. I need a motion to approve our consent calendar as written.
Also move.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Your Honor, actually, we would
Oh.
request a addition.
Oh, yeah, sure.
An addition under unfinished business
Okay.
to reschedule September 11th meeting.
Okay.
We canceled that at our last meeting, but we didn't reschedule.
Okay.
Under new business, to consider job descriptions. Those were placed at your seats this evening. We have Public Service Employee 1 and Public Service Employee 2. And then another one, which would be item B,
Yes.
the high school volleyball team. athletic banners, I guess, to consider. And Manager Marks will
Okay.
explain those.
All right, great. I need a motion to accept the amended agenda.
Also move.
Okay,
Dan, is the second?
okay, Dale, second. Roll call, please.
Hess,
Yes?
Moore,
Yes.
Bianski,
Yes.
Torney,
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Unanimous, Your Honor.
Okay, great.
I'll make the motion that we approve the amended consent calendar.
Excellent. Can I get a second?
I'll give her support.
Okay, can we have a roll call, please?
Moore,
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Bianski,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes?
Torney?
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. And with that, we're going to move on to item number 6 on the second page, reports by departments, committees, and boards. And for letter A, we're going to hear a recap of Summer Thrill on the Hill. Bill?
Thank you, Your Honor, Commissioners. Let me find my information. Again, we've had enough time to have all the invoices and costs come in for the Summer Thrill on the Hill. I'm quite pleased to let you know that we sold 2,046 wristbands for the event, which would span 3 days. And 2,046 wristbands were quite an accomplishment, considering we had the third coldest day in Michigan history recorded on that Friday. We did have some polar bears that came out, and they were still going down the hill in that water. And water that comes out of the hydrant is about 55 degrees, so it was actually warmer than what the air was. So that's probably why they felt so comfortable in doing that. And for the revenues for 2017, we had a profit of $11,244, of which we will be doing 2 presentations tonight here shortly for the fire department. Again, a group of individuals, our firemen who totally support the thrill. They're there constantly, all hours of the thrill. They represent what Buchanan is known for and stands for. The kids love seeing them around. Again, we had thousands of kids down at the hill, all with smiles, and really enjoyed themselves. And the firemen make it really possible, along with our police department. Again, most of the officers that people saw there servicing the event were there without pay. They're volunteers. So that's what it takes to pull off this event. So as we break it down, and I'll ask representative from the fire department to come up. And thanks for all your effort. This is a contribution of $744 that goes to the maintenance fund for the Fireman's Bell Memorial. We appreciate your effort and your contribution to the thrill.
Thank you, sir.
And please share that with the department and
I will.
give them our thanks.
We'll need it this year, for sure.
Yeah.
We ran out of funds last year and had to buy a lot of the bark out of our own pockets, so this will go right towards that. And then that last heavy rainstorm we had a few weeks back actually washed some of the bark back into the creek.
Yeah,
So we really need bark this year, so. But,
okay.
all right.
Well, very
Thanks, sir.
good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for all your volunteer hours, too. We really appreciate it. I saw you there a lot,
They're all-
personally, and plus your fellow fire people. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, may I make
Yes.
a comment?
Yes, go right ahead, Dale.
Tim and all the fire department people, I believe you guys have worked 12-hour shifts at the fair, wasn't it?
We also do that. What they do at the Berrien County Youth Fair is Berrien Springs tries to set up each department one day in local areas. It's a sign-up thing,
I know I saw you there because I was there for the city. I met most of you guys, and I just was just overwhelmed by your enthusiasm for the city and all the time. And that's not time that's you were spending on your personal time there. You guys stayed there almost a whole day, so,
I did that day was that 4 firefighters and an officer available.
right.
My other 2 higher ups were obviously at Cook working. I planned family day and officer duty the same day on Wednesday, so
Yeah, I've talked to Bobby, so please pass my sincere thanks to him.
I will rush it tonight, so.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Tim.
Yes, thank you.
Mayor and Commissioners, I've asked Commissioner Moore up. She's the chairman of the Recreation Committee, and the primary intent of the thrill has all along been to benefit our Parks Department. And the concept has evolved and keeps getting a little bit bigger, and in that, so do our revenues for the parks. I'm very pleased to be able to present $10,500 to the Buchanan Parks for, as proceeds for the Thrill on the Hill event. Commissioner Moore? Thank you.
I did have a 5-page speech prepared, but since I have a tickle in my throat, I'm going to save you all that. But I would really be remiss if I didn't say thank you to the city for this. People start planning months and months ahead. We've doubled the number of volunteers. We've tripled the number of sponsors, and a lot of those sponsors had contributed for the winter thrill and then allowed that sponsorship to roll over to the summer event. So that kind of level of community support isn't duplicated anywhere. So we will be very careful with this money. We appreciate it. We hope we can even get maybe matching grants to make it grow even more. But our parks are in desperate need. We need playground equipment, which, because of regulations and everything, is very expensive. So we know we have a long way to really make our parks something to be proud of. But with this kind of start, we are going to work hard at that. So once again, thank you to this gentleman, all the city planning group. You've really made this a big success, and I appreciate hours and hours that you put into it. So thank you very much, and thank you for the community support, too.
Thank
Madam
you.
Mayor, can I make a
Yes,
comment?
Commissioner Attorney, go ahead.
Commissioner Moore, I just want to pass along a note from Sheila, who was on the Park and Recreation Board for almost 10 years. And she was just amazed at all the money that is going to the parks, since this is our only way of funding the parks. And my wife was trying to get the new playground equipment, and it's very expensive, believe me. So this is fantastic, and not only want to thank the city, I want to thank all the people from the city to attend this event. I think it's very, very fruitful. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Attorney. Yeah.
I would like to definitely recognize Affordable Asphalt for their efforts. They're a local company. Amazingly, they cut out almost a week from their busy schedule to help us build this hill. And it's like they take a vacation. They put their equipment and their labor efforts to build the hill along with the city, and I really want to recognize them because it did cost them cost them financially to take part, but they believe in the event. They have a great time. Their families have a great time. And again, that's what the commission wanted to see out of this, an affordable family event. And with all the donors that take part, we're able to keep that event down to $5 for all day. And that is significant. This year, we allowed some nonprofits to have some vendor booths. Everything that I've heard back from that has been very positive. They were all able to make gain some funds into their charities. to support themselves to help the community, again, through their contributions throughout the year. So, again, it's a real positive event. I'm pleased to be attached to it. Again, Mayor Cole and I brought this idea back from a conference we went to, believing that we had the perfect hill for it, and we've had to work with it a little bit, but we've been able to really capitalize on something that would have just been driven over forever and ever and not really contributed back to us. So I'm very pleased. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, and with that, we're going to move on to item number 7, unfinished business. We're going to consider Resolution 2017.08, Resolution number 2, determination to make public improvements, approval of plans and estimate of costs, final determination of special assessment district, preparation of special assessment role.
Mayor and Commissioners, we had a public hearing just prior to this meeting, and you heard some descriptions of what the special assessment district involves. The amount of the assessment, which is no greater than what it has been in the last 8 years and will be no greater in the coming 5 years. I recommend that we establish the district and approve that assessment.
Okay, any questions from the board?
I'll make the motion that we approve the determination to make the public improvements, approval of plans and estimate of cost, final determination of special assessment district, and preparation of special assessment role.
Can I get a second?
support.
Okay, thank you. Supported by Carla. Roll call, please.
Bianski,
Yes.
Cole? Yes. Hess,
Yes,
Tarney,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor,
thank you.
and that would be Resolution 158. 158.
Thank you, Gladys.
You're welcome.
And with that, we're going to move on to unfinished business, item B. We're going to reschedule the September 11th meeting. For those of you that don't know, we have a very nice commemorative gathering at the Common, and it conflicted with this particular body's meeting. So we're going to try to reschedule that meeting. All right, so what do you think?
Just a resolution to, a motion to reschedule the meeting to
The next day?
February 12th?
February 12th, no.
Oh, excuse me, February.
It was like, wow, that's a long time between meetings. Thank you for the break, but I don't think we need one that long.
Actually, September 12th is
Yeah, there you go.
the Planning Commission meeting.
Okay,
And they have, I believe they'll have a big agenda on that.
okay. And September 13th through 15th, I will be out of town to the Michigan Municipal League Conference.
That's it, Gladys. We got to see September there.
She's not tall enough.
You want me to come over and help you?
Actually, the 13th is the DDA meeting.
So what about the 18th, the following Monday?
I don't want you to stretch anymore than you
That probably would be a solution. Following Monday, September 18th.
Okay, September
I
18th, I
have
need a
something
motion.
else, But, I mean, I could skip that, so. If there's no other option.
Commissioner Moore, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I have a conference call scheduled with another organization that night, so if there's no other option, I'll try to not participate on that, but, so, I mean, I'll be here if that's what the group determines, but if there was another date, that'd be preferable to me, so.
Okay, what about the 19th?
Cemetery
19th,
meeting?
Park, Friends of Oak Ridge, I think.
Okay,
Thing about it is there's meetings almost every day of the month.
Yeah.
yeah,
And we're
that's,
So I mean,
Yeah.
18th is pretty much, that's why Mondays are
Yeah, free.
Is there any way we can just vacate that meeting, just say,
We
Well,
can,
that's what we pretty much discussed. at
that's
the
what I
last
thought we
meeting when
did.
Canceled it, wasn't it?
And we didn't take a summer break, did we?
we can with a resolution to approve checks.
Okay.
Okay.
Any necessary checks, if you would want to vote on that this evening.
Okay. I'm in favor of that, if that's all right with everyone else. Okay.
And we have the option of calling a special meeting if we have an issue come up, so.
Okay. All right. Then I need a motion that we will, what did you call it? Vacate that meeting date?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I need a motion vacating.
I will make that motion.
I will give her support.
Okay. Roll call, please.
And that will allow
You have
the
to
sorry.
necessary checks.
Yes.
um,
Yes.
To pay the
Make that-
bills.
Yes, we would include that, yes.
So
Thank you.
stated, doesn't it?
Yeah. So add that to Carla's statement.
Okay, thank you.
We got you
Call?
covered. Cole?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Hess,
Yes.
Bianski,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Tarney,
Yes.
unanimous, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Gladys. We're all busy people. That was kind of complicated. All right, item number 8, we're on to new business, and we're going to be speaking about job descriptions.
Mayor and Commissioners, when we approved the last union contract, we approved the wages, but we actually neglected to approve the job descriptions that were contained in the contract. So we have a few openings that we will be moving forward to, and kind of a little housekeeping. We want to submit the job descriptions for your approval. So when we put them out, they have been approved by the commission.
You need a motion for each one, or can we do both?
Do both.
I don't know, I need a couple minutes to look these over. I'm sorry, this is the first time I've seen them. Is that okay?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Again, really, the only differences is that the group, the cemetery and DPW are, under the contract, put into one umbrella, and that's public services employee. I think that's the most drastic change out of the job description.
Okay.
And under the contract, they can intermix the two depending on the need of the task at hand. Normally, we have cemetery, we have DPW, but when there's a larger project, the contract allows us to have both groups work on the project.
Right, so there can be a little crossover.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that wasn't the case before?
No, was not. And that crossover does happen. It is limited, but when we need all hands on deck, it's a good resource to have.
Right, especially in the fall with the amount of leaves we have in Buchanan.
As long as our cemetery doesn't get neglected. It's already a done deal, though, isn't it? Pretty much?
Your Honor,
Yes. Commissioner Moore?
I'll make the motion, we approve the work descriptions as printed for public service worker level 1 and level 2.
Okay, thank you.
I'll
Second?
support.
Okay, supported by Carla. Roll call, please.
Tarney,
Yes.
Bianski,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Hess,
Yes.
Cole?
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Gladys. All right, we're moving on to new business. Item B, we're going to discuss the high school volleyball team banners that are to be placed in the downtown area.
Mayor and Commissioners, I was approached late last week with a idea that with the idea that a group of boosters for the high school volleyball team is interested in purchasing and funding the placement of team banners on our downtown light poles. We already have the brackets for them. The team booster group would purchase the banners which display the seniors picture. Only the seniors would get this benefit. And I think there are 5 seniors on the volleyball team. And they would provide us with those banners, and we would slip them on our hardware. So I don't see a difficulty with that in that we aren't funding the equipment or other than our efforts to physically put them up and take them down, which isn't that difficult of a task for us. So what I would ask is that you provide a tentative approval based on approval by the DDA for the placement of those banners during their season.
Yes, Commissioner Moore?
Did you mean based on or pending approval? So has the DDA reviewed this yet?
No.
No, DDA has not met yet.
Okay, all right, so you mean pending approval
Yeah.
through that body?
And in the effort here is in consideration that the volleyball season has already started, and they would like, and it goes until about mid-October. So, and it takes 10 days to get the banners printed, so they would like to try to expedite it. I don't see a real difficulty with it, and although I will say that once the doors open,
Exactly.
we'll get all the athletic teams wanting to do the same thing, and it'd be up to the commission to review each of them or establish a policy that as long as the funding, as long as they pay for everything, we'll put them up, take them down, so.
I do have one concern that I would like to share. As a public school employee, there are children that can't afford $150 to have their face put on a banner. And I'm just concerned that, are all 5 of the seniors going to be paid for, or is it just if your family has the means? I do have concerns about that because I would hate for a child, who has dedicated their time and their effort to a team not to be included just because their family could not afford the banner. I'm concerned about fairness in this situation, I guess,
Yeah, Mayor, I can add a little bit more information to that. I spoke with Lakeshore High School, who coordinates their efforts with their booster, athletic booster for that team.
Yes.
Particular team. If there are any shortcomings, the booster group pays the difference. In this case, with our volleyball team, there'll be a single donor paying for all 5 of these.
Okay.
So at least initially, we won't have that issue come up. But subsequent teams, we can mandate that all seniors, no matter their eligibility, financial capability, will be displayed, and it'll have to be shared cost for that.
Yes, Commissioner Viganski?
I have a real problem with it. $150, that's $750 right off the top of my head. And in the city, it's gonna take at least 2 hours to put it up, 2 hours to take it down. You get into the class rings, you get into the yearbook, you get into the prom, you get into the queen contest. It's extortionate prices and money put on families, whether you got the money or not, and we all know it's about the money. I don't think, personally, I have to agree, rather than even create this, I think it's just another trap for parents with students that are participating in any way in the school to get suckered into spending way more money on something that isn't really all that relevant as far as I'm personally concerned, and that's my personal opinion. Get your picture taken and get it put on a banner. It's not really gonna amount to that much in the scheme of things, and the $150 could probably be spent on a lot better things in the sports arena for the kids at the school, that would really do them a lot more good, so.
Bill?
The cost of the banner, our size banner would be $95 is what they've already been quoted. So just to get that information out.
Okay. Anybody else? Carla? Dale?
Not at this time. I mean, it's a good thought. Dan has a point, and so do you, Mayor. But I think for future, as long as that the kids don't have to pay for it, I think that would be a good idea.
Okay. Carla, you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think if they've got a donor that will pay for that, so that burden's not put on the kids, and I think we need to keep that in mind for the future of any other teams. I think something like this will boost the kids in their thoughts that maybe they are really good, and they probably are. I think it gives them confidence in themselves, so I'm for it as long as they don't have to pay for it.
Pat, did you have anything?
I'll make the motion that we approve it pending approval by the DDA, because I do believe this is a DDA decision that should really, we're just expediting it this time, but
Right.
in future groups, hopefully we'll go to the DDA first and then come after they've had, so this may be something that will be well received by the public. People may not like it, so we'll be basing, my personal vote will be based in the future on how the DDA feels about it. So it may not happen, but I'll make the motion that we approve it pending their approval.
I'll support.
Okay, roll call, please.
Hess,
Yes.
Tarney,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes?
Bianski? Nope. Cole?
Yes.
Passed by majority, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. And that concludes our new business. We're moving on to public comments. Citizens are allowed up to 3 minutes to discuss any non-agenda item. Please approach the microphone and say your name and your address, please.
Got a couple items here. Cindy Benson, 212 Cecil Street. I did not receive in the mail this bubble letter, as apparently some others did not in this bubble area regarding the marijuana issue with 509 Rynearson. I did not receive a letter, and I'm in the bubble because I'm extremely close. I don't know why. And also from listening to other people's comments about that letter, which I only got a glimpse of, it looked like it was a very short thing, there wasn't enough information in there for anyone other than myself, who was at all the meetings, to make a judgment on whether to go or not.
Okay.
I knew about the meeting already, so I guess it doesn't matter that I didn't get the bubble letter, but I'm a bubble person, so I should have gotten a bubble letter. Okay, number 2. I have a concern with your agenda, okay? When the agenda is amended, how do I, as a citizen, comment, since Number 4, public comment for agenda items has passed by the time the agenda has been approved. So if you add something, like for instance, the volleyball thing,
Yes, oh, yeah.
how do I comment on that when it's an agenda item and public comment passed before I even knew it was going to happen?
Well, now that is a very good question, and I was wondering that as well. So I'll let Gladys is our professional.
She's wonderful.
Yes, she knows the rules, so I'll let her explain that for us.
Technically, members have been, or public has been allowed to speak during every single item on the agenda. And so therefore, you can raise your hand when there's a specific topic that the commissioners are discussing.
In the middle of the meeting?
So, yes, yes. And people didn't think that that was enough to just be able to talk during certain items.
Okay.
They wanted special time set aside.
So is it both now?
And
or is it?
so it's actually both.
Okay.
The thing is that the mayor would let the commissioners speak first and then invite anybody to speak if they had any questions or if they raised their hand and wanted to comment. So, technically, it's been both.
All righty.
Okay.
Commissioner Moore?
And really, it's, any comments from the public have to be made on recognition of the person presiding at the meeting.
I understand.
So if someone just wants to shout something out, they could actually be asked to leave. So, I mean, it has to go through the
Sorry. That's your 3
mayor,
minutes, but you can keep going, it's
who's
fine.
playing a game right now, I think, so, I mean,
Good grief, all right.
she may
sorry
not
about that.
call your name, okay?
Sorry about
So-
that, Cindy. Really didn't do that on purpose, I promise.
So,
Okay,
yeah, that should be, so you do have opportunity to make comments, but we're allowing at the beginning for people to make comments before we get into the meat of the thing. Hopefully, the preparation for the meetings is such that everything we're going to discuss is already listed. But
hasn't happened very often since I've been here.
because so many things are last minute, and we have that 2-week situation between meetings, so, you know, hopefully, though, that is done soon enough that people are aware that that's going to be on the docket.
Okay,
so.
and I'm sure I'm getting close to my time, so I'm going to quickly say
No,
this.
you just go right ahead. That was my fault.
The Planning Commission that is working hard on this whole marijuana mess. Sorry, Mr. Viansky, it's still a mess to me. Okay. I am concerned that I'm concerned that people aren't looking at the intelligence and the integrity and the work that many of those people on that committee have put into this. They bring a lot of intelligence and work to that committee. They're really trying hard to do the right thing for us, but they're between a rock and a hard place. And apparently there are some emails that aren't very nice. I really hope that everybody appreciates them, but I hope that they completely barricade that place off, 509 Rainierson, and just make it a pariah for this area. That's my comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cindy.
Another thing, Your Honor, on that.
Yes, yes.
The public can also request an item to be on the agenda. Once a city manager gives the city agenda to the commission, then it's a commission's agenda. So if somebody in the public were to ask,
How would they do that, just so we're
They would
familiar?
Call me.
Okay,
they could call or they could send in a letter, but they could actually ask at a meeting
okay.
to add something to the agenda, and it would be up to the 5 members or the members in attendance to decide whether they would be on the agenda.
Okay, Commissioner Dan?
That's state statute? I mean, that's state statute? I mean, I would have thought that there would have been, so that it could be on, if somebody was requiring something. I want to find the right words for this. My experience with city politics as a taxpayer, I was in Wyoming, and I know people don't like to refer it, but that was a week advance. You could call and put anything on the agenda but you had to do it a week in advance so everybody had the information. Because the thing about it is once you start doing this and your teachers, so you know, it gets more and more chaotic. If you start getting this, so I mean, there's a little bit of organization, and the meetings last an hour and a half, and I don't agree necessarily with things getting that's, you know, that's something that we should get on Friday most of the time, but as they say, it does happen. So,
We should really put it in, consider amending our rules of procedure and putting it in there of how we would want to do it, whether we would just strictly want it, you know, by letter to the city manager, by phone call to the city manager.
Right.
You know, and put a limited amount of time on it.
My concern is that if we just agenda the amendo when we show up too often, I like to have my ducks in a row, and I like to do research. And if an issue comes up and we don't have the information that we need, it makes it a little difficult to speak, you know, intelligently and make decisions based on fact and what we can, you know, dig up.
Right, we
But,
can
you
look at
know,
that. I'm sure we can look at that
okay.
and put an amendment in that.
All right. Okay, thank you, Cindy, for that question. Okay, who's ever next can go right on up to the microphone. Don't forget to say your name and your address, please.
My name is Margot Green. I live at 215 Liberty Street, and I have a question and then possibly a comment. I've been told that the commission has approved 5 grow houses, 4 or 5 grow houses, and 4 or 5 dispensaries. Is that true? Have you done that for our town?
Okay, Bill, do you want to address that?
Yeah, there's 2 stages of what was decided in opting into medical marijuana. One is the policing ordinance, which the city commission, after several public hearings, hearing a lot of public comment, both pro and against, made the decision to opt in. That ordinance was established. It was reviewed numerous times, presented to the commission. They reviewed it and approved it. So the policing ordinance is what it's called, has already been passed. What has to happen next is the planning commission has to do an amendment to the zoning that would specifically allow what the intent was of the city commission to be placed appropriately in the community. So that's what's happening right now. The planning commission is doing an amendment.
But is it 4 or 5 grow houses in Buchanan and
Yes.
4 or 5 dispensaries?
Yep.
So we have 3 gas stations, 1, 2, 3, and we're gonna have 5 grow houses? So clearly, we're looking to bring a whole bunch of people who wanna buy drugs to Buchanan, is what you're telling me. Is that what we voted for?
Okay,
To bring
Commissioner
a whole
Moore?
bunch of people who wanna buy drugs to Buchanan, is that what you voted for?
Can I just,
Sure.
I'll respond to your, in the formatting of the state law that we needed to word everything,
Right.
those numbers were limiting numbers, so not like there shall be 5 anythings. That there shall not be more than 5 anythings. It's a limiting number. It isn't that we're approving any 5 of anything, but that we had to pick a number that would fit into that formatting. And so there may not be the right place for all of those things. It might not be a place for any of those things. It doesn't, you know, that's where things are now at that planning stage. So
Did
they're
you
trying to
think-
see if any of those things fit in the community anywhere. But the numbers that we were basing on is really like a limiting number that we are, and there can be amendments down the road as we get experience with this.
So you're thinking that Buchanan, a town of 4,000, that our 4,000 men, women, and children need 5 places to buy marijuana? I mean, could you have said 2?
Okay,
We could have said any number.
Okay.
Commissioner
Actually, Margot,
Vygotsky?
I've known you for what, 30 years now? I don't know if, so you know how I talk. We approved 15 grow houses. 5 500 plant, 5,000 plant, 5 1,500 plants. We have one very serious investor in the city. We approved 5 provisioning centers. We approved 5, but now there's nobody in town showing any interest. Now, we've been through all this since the 1st of February. You people all finally got attention when it come up in your backyard.
Right.
So I was at the meeting the other night too.
Right.
So it's 5 provisioning centers, it's 5 travel centers. This is maximum. We don't have any interest yet specifically.
Okay.
And that's what the planning commission is doing. Now, Rynearson, you know, everything is supposed to be, and this is what this was about the other night,
Yes.
that it's supposed to be, what's the word for it? It's in industrial, light industrial or industrial, which includes Electro-Voice, but doesn't necessarily include the building. The building on the hill is commercial.
Right.
Everything out on Post Road is industrial.
Right.
And so this is where the tangle's getting, you know, because it's been improved except for the provisioning centers for industrial. So the provisioning centers up to 5, but that doesn't mean the city's gonna put in 5. But everything, and we've done some very extensive research on this. This is not homeless shelters that we're bringing in here, Margot, not by any means. And real estate prices do not go down where they're doing this. Our governor rewrote the law completely, you know, and the law is very good the way it's written now if you're gonna legalize marijuana. And there's just an abundance of information out there if you Google it. And I recommend Googling it. There's 29 states now that have it legalized in some form.
And we're going to, no question. We're going to. I question why we need 5 grow houses for 4,000 people.
That was an arbitrary number, it really was.
All right, you answered my question.
And just so people know, you can go ahead and sit down, Margot. The other night at that meeting, I was a little disappointed in kind of this hysteria that someone produced about you're not going to be able to sell your home. You're not going to be able to get a loan. A young woman said things like, you will not be able to, a bank will not work with you. We are not going to rezone your homes from residential to industrial or commercial. That's not what we're only looking at the property at 509 Rynearson. So please, there was a lot of misinformation, and I know people got really upset. And, you know, we're trying to avoid that. We heard, because you didn't probably come, I know Jeannie did, a lot of people didn't come to those meetings in February, even though it was on the news. You know, it was on Facebook, people talked about it. I'm sorry that not everybody got the invitation to come to our meetings in February, but we heard from a long list of people, both for and against. And what stuck out in my mind and my children's mind, who are young adults, is they were not very happy about this with me, because big improvements have been made in the marijuana industry, and it's not just a bunch of people, you know, getting high on the weekends in their garage. Marijuana has been refined, it's been tested, there's, you know, proof for helping with PTSD for our veterans. You know, help at the end of your life for cancer victims that can't eat anymore because they're not hungry. There's a lot of good hospice, you know, and those were the things that I thought about when those people came to the microphone. And it is our goal as a city commission and as city leadership to make sure that this is done in an appropriate and, you know, I can't think of a better word for it, but a classy manner. I don't want to see a dispensary anywhere in Buchanan with, you know, advertising like a cell phone store with those crazy blow-up people and neon flashing lights and a snarky name. We want to have it be like a medical facility. And I will tell you that Rite Aid sells far more dangerous drugs than a dispensary ever will. And that's not what I was taught in school. I've been a teacher for 30 years, And, you know, I sat with my children and listened to the DARE presentation, and the marijuana that I think about from when I was in high school, that's not the marijuana we're talking about today. So if that alleviates your fears, I know people were really aggravated with me when I kind of got a little snarky about, you know, we put our meetings up out there and we try to get the word out. And, you know, we don't want to surprise anyone, and we're not trying to sneak things by you, but literally we've been working on this since when? The beginning of January? Yeah.
Just about, been to
Okay.
a lot of meetings. Just want to add a little something to the mayor's comments is, go to a website that's called Realm of Caring. That's out in Colorado. And that's a big business. I shouldn't say it's a business, but it's also a charitable organization that helps a lot of kids through the medical marijuana situation. I was out in not California, but Colorado, spoke to a grandmother, and she was wanting to know where I was from, and I told her I was from Buchanan, and that we're going through the issue of medical marijuana, and can you tell me how that all started here? And she said her 12-year-old grandson would not be alive today if it wasn't for medical marijuana. And the Stanley Brothers, that's another website you might want to take a look at. And if you really want to know, I mean, I looked it up, and I actually sent it to all the commissioners and the city manager and everybody else. The Stanley Brothers were the ones that started the medical marijuana out in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And the state of Colorado was trying to shut them down because at the time there was nothing there. But because of all the people that were in line who were trying to find something to help their kids and help themselves, when the state went out there, they realized that they had to start talking to these people and to see what was going on. But I'll let you look for yourself. I've already looked at all that up, and maybe it might be. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay.
Yep. Yes, that's good. Okay. 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 Go ahead and go up to the microphone, would you please? Thanks.
Jeannie Harris, 320
Jeannie.
Bluff Street. I don't think you guys really get it. You know, people are not so opposed to if Buchanan wants to have a dispensary, wants to have a growing facility. And you mentioned the fact that I was here at the meetings. I was here because there was consideration of a dispensary being put in my neighborhood, and my neighbors were here because of that. That's why Margot and Sue and these other people are here from the Heights area. You're not understanding that people don't want it in their backyard or their front yard. They don't want it in their neighborhood. And I understand Buchanan is so small, you don't have a lot of choices to put these facilities. But to me, that's the bottom line. They don't want it in their neighborhood. That's it.
Thank you. You can go on up. Yep. Thank you, Jeannie.
Luann Gardner, 605 Rhinearson, top
Hello,
of the
Ann.
hill, in the bubble. First of all, I'd like to apologize for getting snarky the other night. I don't consider myself uninformed about medical marijuana. I too have young adult children, and I get that part. I think we're at a real balancing point in Buchanan. We are drawing in people with young families who are ready to get going and build Buchanan into something better, more beautiful, more productive, and they may be totally ignorant of medical marijuana, any kind of marijuana. And are they going to buy property with it in their backyard? Maybe they know about medical marijuana. Maybe they vote for it. Maybe they think it's great. Are they going to buy our house? I doubt it. I wouldn't. It's a balancing act. And I think it's time to, if you are really going to do this, you must educate people. Like we did tonight. I didn't hear anything at that meeting the other night, and this is not meant to be critical. I came here to be more educated about why are we doing that in our backyard? You know, give me some tax figures. Are we going to earn money from that? Are we, you know, the property value is going to devalue enough to pay the difference for what we're going to get in return? Is there something I don't understand here? And I didn't hear any of that. So I got a little snarkier when I got home. What's happening, you know? Also, I take responsibility for not being more involved. And the good news is, we had more people at that zoning commission meeting there the other night than we've had in a long time, from what I understand. People want to get involved. But I don't think we can do that if we're not educated. It's everything. And if we can't work together, we have no newspaper, we could get the high school kids involved in a newspaper. Videos, online, YouTube. They love doing that stuff. They can help us. That's it.
Okay. Hey, thank you very much. And I do appreciate everyone coming the other night. Thanks. You can go on up. Thank you.
Bob Hoven. My
Hi, Bob.
business is at 414 East Front Street. I did my homework today too, on the web. Or I had an employee do it. And I was shocked after 8 hours of all the causes, and of course Dr. Moore knows more about it than anyone here. But I was shocked. I was also shocked that one of our local hospitals had 11 kids overdose over the weekend. The 11 were the lucky ones. They got to the hospital. And anyone that thinks marijuana medically starts at one point and doesn't go to the next and to the next level are very naive. And I also would say, if you want to go on the web, because while I was watering, I had him read off the causes that it does, and it's horrible. I mean, you can't even believe what it does to young kids. And if this is what you as a commission wants to put on our community, it's pretty darn bad. I'd use other language, but you know what I mean. It's just absolutely sick. And it's a disease that starts with young kids with the first episode of smoking this stuff. And if you don't think they don't get it, then you're the ones that don't get it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, Norma?
Norma Ferris of Buchanan. When can I get an agenda before Monday night when I walk in the door?
We usually
Can I
post
come
them.
Monday morning, Friday night, and pick one up?
No, the agendas are posted on Friday. You can easily walk in here and grab an agenda.
I've looked.
Have you asked for one? I mean, they're
They
posted
aren't
on the board.
available.
They're posted here, they're posted downtown.
There's
So-
extra
and-
ones on the table, put on the table before noon, actually last Friday.
Usually right
I
here,
didn't know.
right there on that table, Norma.
Oh, I know where they're at.
Oh, okay.
But when you're discussing these things, I'd like to be able to get one before I come.
Norma, they're on the table, they're posted. You come and go from City Hall often enough that I think you know how to get an agenda.
I don't want to hear they aren't available.
Okay, thank you. Let me know if someone says they're not available. I'll help you, okay? Thank you. All right, anybody else?
My name is Grace Batchelor.
Hi, Grace. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. My question has always been, why should 6 commissioners make a decision for the entire town of Buchanan, who are the taxpayers? That's my question.
Okay. Somebody want to handle that, or would you like me to?
You're the mayor.
Okay, well, we are all elected officials, and we had public comment, and we listened to we read all the emails, we listened to all the comments at meetings, we talked to people in coffee shops and at the gas station, and that's how we came to our decision. We're your elected officials. And, we are always up for reelection, and if you do not like the way we conduct business and the decisions that we make, we are always, our terms are limited, and we are always looking for people to run against us. We welcome that, so that's how we make decisions here in Buchanan. And you have all of our emails. You can get them off the website. My personal phone number is actually on my business card right here if you need to call me. We're all pretty approachable, so I hope that you'll take advantage of that. Okay, Pat?
And I just want to remind people that this whole topic was brought to us by the governor
Yes.
and the state legislators. This is not something we sought out. This is something that the state of Michigan, the residents in 2008 approved the use of medical marijuana in the state. So the whole state voted, and by a ballot initiative, we have that approved already. So that's already the law. The question came up when the governor added some regulations to make it become treated more like, say, a liquor board, and actually put more restrictions on it, that every municipality, every township, every group had to make a decision of whether or not we were going to get involved with it. So this is something that we did not seek out to ruin the fine life of Buchanan. In fact, we are being very careful trying to preserve our way of life. But it is something that we, as a group, had to make decisions on based on what the governor did back in December. And nothing happens until the licenses come around December 15th. That's when the state people can apply for these licenses. So we are doing prep work in response to what the state laws are, and they are still making rules and regulations that are shaping this. So it's a very influx situation even at this late date. So we are trying to do the best we can to make good decisions on behalf of the community, taking everyone's viewpoint into account. But this is not something we pushing on you. This is something we're responding to the citizens of this state, bringing this issue forward, and how do we meet that need that people have come up here and said they need it. So that's why we're in this position that we are in.
You can go ahead and go up to the microphone. Thanks.
Margot Green, 215 Liberty Street. Okay, do you expect it to bring money to the community? Okay, did you have a choice? I mean, you could have said no, or you had to allow people to come to this town.
We had a choice.
You had a choice.
We had a choice to say
Okay.
yes,
And
no,
you-
or do nothing.
Okay, so nobody forced you to do it. You did it basically for money to come into the town? Would that be your opinion?
That was my opinion.
Just to get more money into Buchanan?
That
Bring
was not
jobs into
mine.
town.
And jobs.
Okay.
That was not
And to
mine.
We've really done a lot
rejuvenate.
of- We've really done a lot of work on this, Margot.
Yes.
We really have done a lot of work on this. And I mean, we're not up here to try to destroy the town. We were all elected.
I'm
And
just
the
appalled by
people-
the
The thing
numbers.
about it is though, Margot, we've got 15 people in here right now. You know how many meetings we attend with nobody in here? So now, everybody's getting educated, but they don't want to
Yes,
get
you are,
educated.
Cindy.
Okay, hang on. One person, hang on, Margot gets her turn. Go ahead, Margot.
I just wanted to find out, was it for the money that we have five
If-
of each allowed?
If you,
22 veterans are killing themselves because they're addicted to opioids a day. I mean, that's some
Well-
of the stuff.
I'm
we're
not
hearing.
saying you shouldn't have any. I'm just saying.
to answer her question, Commissioner.
Yeah, go right
it
ahead.
Basically is, if you did not opt in,
Right.
okay, and then the cities around you did, then you cannot participate in the taxes that are being collected from that. So that's one of the reasons why we opted in. And Commissioner Vidansky also said the other reasons is for jobs, but another good reason is we're trying to rebuild Buchanan. And this was a way of getting some good businesses here. And there are a few of these businesses that look very nice. So those were my three reasons.
And I don't object to that. I object to putting them in neighborhoods when we all know that they should be in the industrial park. And because we all know they're gonna make so much money, build a building. There are empty lots available. So, that's,
Sure, I hope I answered your question on that. Okay.
And also, previous marijuana laws allowed medical marijuana card holders to find a grower. And right now, there are, how many growers in Buchanan operating in neighborhoods right now?
10, as we know.
10. So we would hope that those 10 neighborhood growers will be put out of business.
Right, they're unregulated.
Okay, so that's also
And
another
they're in
reason.
residential homes.
Yes, okay. Okay, yeah. Oh,
That's right.
well, all right. Okay, anyone else? Okay, go ahead. Yeah, yes, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to call on whoever I see. Sorry if I've overlooked anyone.
Van Gardner, 605 Rainierson.
Thank you.
What's the next step? Does nothing happen until December 15th?
Right now, we're waiting for the Plan Commission to approve zoning. In December, people will be allowed to apply for licenses. through
Permit,
this-
permit,
Permit?
it was
permit from us.
No, license from the state, permit from
Right.
us. So they need to get a license from the state. I didn't bring my information with me, but the licensing procedure is very stringent. You have to have a very clean record, you have to have financials, and pretty much if they don't like your demeanor, they can tell you no.
Some of that is in the.
Yes.
The
mhm,
law
yes.
document
Right.
online,
Yes.
right?
And then once they get their license, they can come to us for a permit. But right now, we're working on just where would these facilities go? What would they look like? And we reserve a lot of right as a city commission to control these operations. You know, if they get too many complaints, they have to come up every year for a renewal. So if there's a problem and residents aren't happy with
Is that
what's
a
going
12-month
on.
cycle?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the next step is in your court.
Yes, we have to wait until after December. Maybe Bill can weigh in a little bit more with that.
Actually, the
Yeah.
the planning commission needs to amend the zoning ordinance, and they need to send that amendment to the city commission where it's voted on. And then that ordinance becomes our local law. That will set up the structure in which we will begin taking applications for review for the 5 different segments of the supply chain that is covered in the statute. So we'll take applications from anybody interested in doing any one of those 5 segments in the community. We'll have a review process, and then we'll acknowledge their permit or approve it, and then they will be set up to apply for a state license starting December 15th, I believe, to move forward that way. So that's kind of the process. We're waiting for the planning commission to submit their ordinance to the city commission for final approval. So,
Okay. All right, with that, we'll close our public comment section. It's now time for item number 10, city manager comments. Bill?
Mayor, Commissioners, we got a little bit of a lull in between the leaves starting to fall, so what we will be doing is doing a lot of crack filling on the streets. We've had some work by the road commission in doing chip and seal on some of our roads. Some of those roads included the cemetery and the access road to the wastewater plant. Chip and seal is a lower cost method to prolong the road surfaces. I know it meets with some criticism that there's a bunch of loose stones on the road, but we do try to get out and we'll scoop those up the best we can in the coming weeks with the broom and that. But what we're concentrating on right now before the leaves fall is we just took delivery on a whole new load, about 4,000 pounds of the rubber sealant material for our crack sealing machine. Total Patcher will also be out trying to hit the potholes before we get refocused on the falling leaves. We are doing maintenance on all our leaf equipment now to make sure they're up and ready to go, because we will have a change of season here pretty soon, unfortunately. So that's kind of what our focus is. I'm happy to acknowledge that Lehman's Orchard Public House is open now. They had the ribbon cutting on Wednesday. It was well attended. I think this weekend I drove by and there was another full parking lot, which I was very pleased with. And Steve has put a lot of effort into that. We've worked with him along the way, and I hope he's very successful in his endeavors. So that's all I've got.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner comments, want to start? Commissioner Turney, please.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I would like to personally thank the city manager and the mayor, Brenda, for going with me to Matson, Illinois. We met with what they don't have a mayor, what they call there is a president, and their commissioners are called trustees, and I believe there was 8 trustees and the president. So we sort of have a I know the mayor or the president personally. She was an employee of mine at People's Gas, and so I sort of contacted her and saying we would like to come out and visit, and we would also like to invite them to come out to us for a visit. She was very cordial and happy to see me and us, and and we sat through their meeting over there. Their I guess you can call it commission meeting, and they're in the midst of contacting us to come out here and visit us. Of course, I explained to Sheila, which is same name as my wife, that our hall is not as elaborate as Matson, Illinois' hall, okay? And she was sorry that we couldn't stay any longer because she wanted to go take us out to dinner, but we went up to her office and discussed some of their issues and some of our issues, and so it was a good meeting. So I appreciate us going out there. We brought some gifts out there to them, a little bag of what Buchanan's all about, and they were just like, oh. So we reminded them that the apple that they got in their bag from Lehman's was freshly picked at noon, so it's right off the tree. Also, I had the opportunity to ride with the Meals on Wheels from our senior center with Linda. She's the head of the Berrien County. I think you might know her. She comes to your meetings, right? At the senior center? No, you don't know her? Okay. So we rode with the Meals on Wheel driver here in Buchanan. We saw 18 senior citizens here in Buchanan, and when we went to their door, they were kind of shocked to see someone from the city actually be there, and also the head of the whole Berrien County there. It was sort of an interesting meeting because, first off, MetaCourt is in the process of doing a lot of construction, so I was actually see firsthand what they're doing there and improving lives for seniors. And I asked the seniors, well, what do you think of the improvements? And they are very happy to see that. Also, the Dial-A-Ride service, I think we should let Kim know. They are extremely appreciative of the Dial-A-Ride. Out of the 18 seniors that I saw, 3 of them had the capabilities to actually drive a car. Basically, all of them are housebound. They don't get out. Their only contact is the Meals on Wheels driver. And the Meals on Wheel drivers, they really know their people because that's their only contact for the day. And there is a lot of seniors here in town that are, it's really sad. So I'm hoping to do this on a quarterly basis with the senior center to actually go to these homes because it's their only human contact. So I just wanted to let you know that we have a good program here and that we hopefully can continue that. Tim, again, I think Tim is still here. Thanks again. Because what I forgot to mention also, when I was at the city's booth, we had volunteers from the police department who also commit a lot of hours, 10, 12 hours. And boy, I tell you, they did an outstanding job. And the volunteers for that Berrien County Fair was overwhelming. So once again, I want to thank those people for also putting in their time. And I just questioned to Bill, have we called the sign person back from Bridgman just to, or would you like me to do that? I could do that for you if you, I know you're busy.
I'd appreciate that, Dale, if you could keep that
I might,
dialogue going.
I'll call them because I think we should, and we want to keep them in the loop, right?
Yes.
So I'm okay to ask them that, maybe contacts in the spring. And my last question would be, do you think we might get around in the fall about the Welcome to Buchanan sign in the?
Yep.
I know it's probably better once all the plants die, it'd be easier to get to them so we can have a fresh start in the spring with the painting?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just still overwhelmed at that Meals on Wheels trip. Most of these unfortunate seniors right now are in their 80s and 90s, and boy, I tell you, I mean, you get in there, you really don't want to leave. You want to sit there and talk to them because they want to talk to you. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Carla?
I don't have much. I just want to say that our summer thrill has really taken off, and I could not believe that people are sliding on Friday when it was so cold. We were sitting there with winter coats on and blankets, and I'm going, where are the parents to allow the kids to get in this cold water? But anyway, they all had fun, including the adults. We go to many places, and we are known, Buchanan is known for doing things. And the question comes up all the time, and I've said it before, if it wasn't for the Buchanan volunteers, we would not be able to do what we do. Buchanan, we are so lucky. We want to do something, volunteers come out of the wood. Where they come from, I don't know, but we've got them. And so we take advantage of that. And so we thank everybody connected with the thrill, the winter and the summer. The firemen freeze to death in the winter. They actually got cold this year at the summer thrill. But we appreciate all the, the firemen, the police. Smackus was here just in case we needed them. But we can't do it with all you volunteers. I see some faces out here that were at the thrill. And so we'd like to really say thank you. It's much, much appreciated. Also, I remind you, school's starting up. Please watch for the kids. They don't stop to think. They come out from between cars because they're all excited. School's starting. We're going to go see my teacher. We're going to see my friends. And they don't stop to think there might be a car coming down the road. So we, as adults, need to watch out for them. It's really important. I hate to see someone get hurt. And also when you're parking at the school, moms and dads, grandmas, uncles, aunts, please listen to the officer as to where you're in to park and be patient. They try to get you unloaded, kids in, and you out. So just be extra careful. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Dan?
Brian, I can't let you go without, you got a whole pocket full of them. Have they got them up at the senior center now? The applications? Everybody that got one tonight, please tell everybody, because it is a good deal. It's a really good deal. And Brian did bring them tonight, because I harp on him all the time about pushing this, because this is a good deal, and it's untapped money for the ambulance service. I want to thank you all for coming. Please, please, look us up, call us up. We can give you websites to look up. I got elected because there was 3 openings and 3 people on the ballot. And when I say nobody comes, I mean, there's a couple of yous. You're one of the new ones. Norma's a regular. Alan's down here a lot. So, I mean, we know, but this is great. I mean,
Yes.
I don't mind this, because the thing about it is I want you to come get the stuff firsthand. You know, and I want you to go out there and pass it on firsthand. Because the bubble, you know, I heard all kinds of rumors about that too. It's not gonna be rezoned. You know, it's not gonna be rezoned. Your houses are not gonna be rezoned, just one, and that's not necessarily gonna happen either. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying. That's part of the decision-making process. Other than that, just thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Commissioner Dan. Commissioner Pat?
Well, as far as the ambulance, I was at a meeting in Rockville, Maryland over the weekend, and yesterday afternoon I was waiting for my cab at the Marriott, and some guy passed out, gashed his head, and of course I'm trying to help. But they call this ambulance, and the first thing I see, the guy pulling the cart out had shorts and a t-shirt on. And like, these guys are here at this meeting better dressed than the ambulance that came to the Marriott in Rockville, Maryland. So I just, really appreciate what we do have here. I know people were worried about something going up or whatever. It's not, and it's the same, but we really do owe these gentlemen and all of their teams a big vote of thanks, and just, even if it was going up, they would be worth the money. Let me just tell you. Let's hear it for the ambulance. So, I mean, I can just, a big city like Rockville, and the guy's in shorts. So, yeah, well, there was not even like a name on his thing, so. But he could have been perfectly fine. I don't know. I got my cat. I just wanted to let people know too about a couple of my other groups that I am liaising with. We had the dog park people, the cemetery people, several groups were represented at the booth at the fair, and I just do want to tell you, I think that was a big success. We got a lot of good feedback from the general population. The families that came by were really happy. I happened to be doing a shift with the fire chief, and they were passing so much stuff out for free that people were looking around where to give money. So fortunately, the dog park had a canister right there. So people were shoving money in for the dog park because they wanted to just say, oh, thanks for that little red fireman hat. And so the dog park did okay. And the dog park will be selling Klondike bars Saturday of Labor Day weekend at the farmer's market. So see us there for more ice cream. Another group that is really starting something new, and we're just trying to see if this is going to be workable, but we would like to at some point, hopefully, spread it through the entire availability through the entire community. But this morning, we started doing an oral history project sponsored through the Friends of Oak Ridge Cemetery. So that could be something that we really will just help preserve our heritage in a lot of ways. So my father didn't appreciate that I forced him to do it, though. So anyway, so we are starting this process. So keep aware of that. It might be something that we really can embrace and take every advantage to, whether you've been here for many years or you're new in the area. You know, hopefully we'll be able to capture your views of the city and your life experiences in a short video that we can start housing that and keeping that as precious as any other museum piece, and share that with researchers in the future. So that's an exciting thing, and I am looking forward to enjoying another fall season of the Scarecrows. So I want to thank them in advance for a marvelous job, and each of those Scarecrows that are sponsored, these volunteers, once again, the volunteers, they've done all that work. They don't take that money and go home and have a beer. They turn around and get grants, more paperwork from other groups that need money for like youth programming at the parks and stuff. And they turn around and give grants to other groups, so that good is multiplied many, many times throughout the entire community. So I do thank them for their generosity and hard work. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just have 4 quick things. Last summer, some citizens came to our body here, and they had grave concerns about the behavior of the children in the common. So there have been some incidences and problems. So in response to that, I spoke to the BAMA committee, that's the Buchanan Area Ministerial Association, and we've come up with the Buchanan Youth Committee. And so every Wednesday throughout the school year, starting on the 13th, we're going to meet at St. Paul's, I think. Well, the one across the street from SWEM, sorry. And we're going to provide opportunities to play basketball, volleyball. We're going to give homework help if people need help. Young people need help, like filling out job applications. We're just going to be a support group for fun. Feed the Children of Buchanan is providing snacks. So hopefully that will give some of our youth that maybe hang out at the Common a place to go and get connected with some adults. Eventually, we'd like to do some pairing of, if you're a young person interested in auto mechanics, maybe bringing a car by and teaching kids how to, like, change a tire, or if you're really interested in sewing, we have a group that's interested in cooking, and we're just trying to get kids connected with caring adults to, enrich their lives and enrich our lives as well. We've also started a tree board where we would like to reforest Buchanan. Over the years, our tree canopy has started to age, and you may notice even in your own neighborhood, big limbs are coming down during storms, and we are interested in not only taking down trees that have problems that could be dangerous, but really focus on how can we make and beautify Buchanan on a budget. So the tree board meets on, our next meeting is next Thursday if you are interested in that. And if you need my contact information right there. And in case you didn't know, this summer, the school, in cooperation with the city, we sponsored a bookmobile for the children. And 8 times this summer, we took Karen Falkenstein's van, and we went to 2 of the trailer parks and 1 apartment complex and a park, and we passed out books to children for free to take home to help enrich their home libraries. A lot of children these days don't have books at home, and some parents live too far out to get to the library, or there are other barriers to using the library, so we passed out a lot of free books this summer. And also, we started a group to improve the North River Park. If you are familiar, at the end of Redbud, there's a hill that goes down to library and educational services. And there's a park back there with a boat launch that the city owns. And we've spent a couple of days this summer cleaning up brush down there, making sure that the garbage has been picked up, and we're working on improving that too. So those are some things besides marijuana that are going on in Buchanan. And if you are inclined to join any of those endeavors, please get a hold of me. We're always looking for grown-ups that, you know, are willing to work with the children. And if you don't really necessarily like kids, if you have a rake and you want to come help us down at the boat launch, we'll take anyone, basically. So with that, if there's no other comments, yes.
I just want to mention, because you did not mention, was the little free libraries that we have here in town that Brenda put together, and it's been a great success. I took a carload of books and took them to all the little free libraries and jammed the books. I had so many of them, I had to cram them in there. But it's free for the kids. They can take it home and read it, bring it back if they want. They can bring a different book when they take a book out. And they're in 3 different places here in town, and it has been a great success along with our bookmobile. So I think that's pretty neat.
Yes, Dale.
I just want to mention to Bill that Linda from the Berrien County Meals on Wheels, she'll be calling you. She would like to come in front of the commission and speak, so you might be getting a phone call from her.
Okay, great. With that, I'd like to call this meeting to an end, adjourn the meeting. Can I get a second?
I'll support.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.